guitar. It's a slower solo, a slower tempo. Even though, you know, Dimebag's, listen to the background. The music's not going, it's more like bluesy, groovy. Not all the time, but mostly. I'm thinking of like on Far Beyond Driven. The solo on Strength Beyond Strength. It's a slower section of the song, even though that song starts off fast. So, damn it. I went past 20 minutes. Well, I guess I'm going to have to make this a 2-part video. Because I didn't end the other one the way I wanted to, motherfucker. Some more advice. So, let's say you're in the studio. And like I said, do what you can in the studio to make it the best that you can, even if you can't play it live. Example, like Slayer. I call them solos, but they're also just called leads, meaning it's not like a full drug out solo, it's like little short leads. Sometimes it's just a couple notes to add. I've noticed that because like with my old recordings, we had the main structure, the groove that got you moving, but if it had more leads, this is guitar wise, it would bring out the flavor of the music more, the color, the emotion. It's what separates you from being half-assed to badass. That's guitar wise. And whatever you can harmonize or add underneath to bring out and make the music shine. Same vocally, man. Sometimes, man, like when you take let's say, I'm not a fan of black metal really, but some of it's okay. Do the high scream. I can't do that right now. Mix that with the very low death metal, and you combine them, and it sounds wicked and evil. It makes it sound. Some advice for. There's musicians out there that have that are even super popular that don't know all these hints. Everyone has their own knowledge and skills sets, and like my friend Jason Schultz says, to add to your arsenal of weapons, to add to our arsenal of what we can do on the guitar or as a band. I like that term. It's like building the skill set in a video game, like playing Skyrim or Dark Souls. Oh man. For all you people out there, what's today? Today is February 9th. It's Wednesday, 2022. The end of this month. Elden Ring, which is made by the creators of Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Sekiro, I can't pronounce that, Bloodborne, Sekiro, which I'm still stuck at that fucking ape, the something ape. I can get to the point where I kill him once, but I can't kill him the second time. Got pretty far in that game though. Oh, that's another thing. I'm sure it's been done, and it's not that big or crazy of an ideal, but you know how people use samples from movies or other songs to put into their songs? Use samples from video games. There's certain things that sound cool in a video game. Even some of the storyline could be added to your story as a musician of what your songs are about. Samples. Yeah. So basically my moral, my idea of this video, and this is part 2 of the other one I just did, which is continuing. It's all in the same day. Little tips on how to make your music good, and fuck it if you can't play it live. You want to make it a finished product. You want it to be badass, not half-ass. And sometimes, let's say, like, when, especially nowadays, when you sample from shit that's copywritten, you can slow it down, speed it up, you can reverse it. You got to do things to make it your own. Otherwise, if you leave it exactly as it is, you have to overlap shit so it doesn't sound like the same shit. If you want to sell the music. And most likely you won't get in trouble unless you were like some big popular band, but you never know. Like this. You could do this in a song. And that can make the music sound good. Just an ideal. Little things. Like Down on Bury Me in Smoke or whatever, where you hear the water bong, it adds to the effect of it. All kinds of shit. So I mentioned vocals. Vocals, you layer them, you dub them. You do different types of vocals and overlap them to see how it mixes. Harmonizing, like Alice in Chains. Trying vocal styles that you normally wouldn't do for that style of music. Even if, let's say I was in a pop band and I tried death metal. You never know. For that one song, it could go with the vibe and feel. You never know unless you try it. And that's another thing, man. Trying everyone's ideals when you're in the studio or not the studio, at the practice spot, and being fair. And not only that, not just listening to the other person's ideal and not just playing it, but I mean, you have to learn it and play it correctly, even if it's not going to make it to the album or song. You have to learn the part correctly to know if it will sound good or not. Because I've had it where the people are like, I know they don't want to try my ideal, so when we go to do it, they do it half-assed, and I can tell them, I'm like, of course it sounds like shit, listen. And then finally, they're like, okay, Dave. And then we do it right, and they're like, oh, okay, good, it does sound good. It's like, yeah. Same with if you have an ideal. Even if I think it won't sound good, I have to play it the way that you hear it, so that way you yourself and me and the rest of the band can tell if it sounds good. It's band chemistry, people, and it's being fair. That way you can work as a group. It can be time consuming, but you have to have that. You get to a point where it gets easier, though. You pick up on you just pick up on things that it's kind of like how you develop a relationship with your pets, and they just know certain things that you do, and you know certain things they do that others don't realize. So I said vocals, guitar. Let's go with bass. Some advice to make your bass better in the studio. I'm not talking about recording tips on like the mics and shit like that. I'm just saying some things to color it up if you don't want just a simple bass line. I think about Metallica's Master of Puppets. On how, I don't know if it's flange or phaser or chorus or reverb, but any effect. Test out the effects and see which one works the best for whatever song or what certain parts of the song, because it will make your bass stand out more and it'll help the song. out of all the Metallica albums, I think that's the only one that where Cliff Burton, I know he does it on other albums, but that album, the bass stands out. It's not just because he's a good bass player. It's because he made memorable bass lines, and the effects brought it out. Even though when I listened to just the bass tracks on their own, it did not sound like it fit to the guitars and shit. It sounded kind of sloppy and off, but it worked in the final product, so whatever. What else? Drums. See, drums are hard because, like I've talked about this with our old drummer Todd, and I totally get it. You get to a point where no matter how good you are as a drummer, it's hard to be original on the drums. It's not the same as guitar and vocals, especially guitars, I would say, because no matter what, you always have to have your kind of cookie cutter drum patterns. You can be creative and colorful and original, but it takes more work. I've never been able to play the drums, but it seems that way, even for really good drummers. I mean, because you can get tons of drummers that can blast like a motherfucker, but then you got to get to the point where you take that blast and color it up. Maybe miss a second on the shit like that. One thing that I've always tried to do with any drummers that I've had in no class or any bands is, and we play metal, is I want them to do jazzy stuff, like odd, it still has to have the groove, just colorful stuff, not just ride the kick straight through and blast all the time. I want them to get colorful, write their own colorful riff. Kind of like if I was playing a riff, dun 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 dun, and they're like, color it out, dun 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 dun, wee dun 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 dun, wow. Add the bends, the squeals. A band, Internal Bleeding. They're one of my favorite death metal bands. But my favorite album by them is Driven to Conquer. Out of all their albums, I feel like all the members at the time and where their minds were was their peak for me. The drummer Bill Tolley or Tolley, sorry that I don't know how to pronounce that, he passed away. But I've seen Internal Bleeding live, and on that album, the type of hi-hat shit he's doing, he was colorful. He wasn't doing basic death metal shit. He had the groove in the like stops and goes, like the he did it badass. Badass Bill. I know that the guitar player Chris, and the other guitar player Chris, but the one that's been in the band since the beginning, even when he wasn't on the album, I think there was one album that Chris, oh my god, I feel so stupid that I can't remember his last name, he still was a part of that album. But it's badass to see them still going. That's a lifer. Even if you take a 10-year hiatus and you come back. Okay, people. That's it for my rambling. Oh, so I did guitar, vocals, bass, drums, keyboards. Keyboards is pretty much right, catchy keyboards. Faith No More does it. Typo Negative does it. Fear Factory. Shit, my mind just went blank. Chimera, The Doors. What did I say? Faith No More, Type O Negative, The Doors, Chimera. Oh my God, Fear Factory. There's other bands. Damn it. Oh, I don't love all their music, but Mushroom Head and, well, first I'll say Mushroom Head because I don't like all their music. They have some really super catchy keyboards. And then a band I like a lot, especially their first two albums, American Head Charge, have really catchy keyboards. And that sometimes makes or breaks the song. Some of my favorite songs are like the ones that start off with it, like dun 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 dun, boom 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 boom, dun 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 dun. Keyboards, motherfuckers. Oh, and I mentioned samples. What else? Saxophone. The Faceless does it. And some other bands like Rivers of Nihil started to add it, but saxophone is badass in there. The flute. All kinds of stuff. Make it the best that you can, motherfuckers. It doesn't matter the style of music. This is the Scattered Thoughts of Mr. Know-It-All. I love all of you. God bless all of you. I'm trying to think. Remember, it's not about religion or churches. It's about your connection to the Holy Spirit, the Lord Jesus Christ. Remember that, because trust me, religion, churches, and all you so-called Catholics, Christians, whatever, Jehovah's, you people scare us away from the shit. And you wonder why we have hatred towards it. But anyways, I love you guys. Smile, you fucks. No class.